Discover the exciting story of the creation of the world in detail. Hello guys. Today we will dive into the fascinating narrative of the creation of the world, as described in chapters 1 and 2 of the book of Genesis. Get ready to marvel at power and divine wisdom. In the beginning, before all things, the universe was a vast empty. There was no form or light, just a deep darkness that covered everything. But even in the midst of darkness, there was a presence. It was God, who hovered over the deep and silent waters. From within his infinite wisdom and power, he decided to create. Thus, on the first day, God uttered the words, "There is light." And at that moment, light shone for the first time in the history of creation. It was a pure and divine light, so intense that it tore the dense darkness, clearly separating the day of the night. In contemplating the newly created light, God saw that it was good and called it a day. Darkness called it at night. Thus, the first day of the magnificent work of creation was completed. On the second day of creation, after having separated the light from darkness and established the cycle of day and night, God continued his magnificent work. He contemplated the vast waters that covered the earth and decided to create a division between the upper waters and the lower waters. With a majestic command, he said, "There is an expansion in the middle of the waters to separate water from water." And so it was done. God created the heavens, a vault that separated the waters below the waters above. This divine firmament was so great that it reflected the glory of the Creator in all its magnitude. In observing this new creation, God saw that it was good and called the firmament of heaven. Thus, the second day of the divine work was completed with another demonstration of God's power and perfection in the creation of the world. On the third day of creation, after having separated the light from darkness, and established the heavens as a vault that separated the upper waters from the inferior, God continued his magnificent work. He looked at the dry land that had emerged between the waters and decided to adorn it with life and beauty. With a divine gesture, he ordered the earth to produce vegetation of all kinds, fruit trees, lush plants, and colorful flowers. Thus the earth filled with green fields, majestic woods, and scented gardens. Rivers serpented through the flowery fields, reflecting the brightness of the newly created sun. Each leaf swayed gently to the touch of the wind created by God. In contemplating this new creation, God saw that it was good and smiled with satisfaction. Thus, the third day of the magnificent work of the creation of the world was closed. On the fourth day of creation, after establishing the separation between light and darkness, God contemplated the vast starry heaven he had created. With his infinite wisdom, he decided to adorn the firmament with celestial stars of indescribable beauty. First, he formed the sun, a sphere of radiant fire that erupted on the horizon to illuminate and warm the earth during the day. Its intense brightness was so ardent that it seemed to set on its own heaven. Then God created the moon, a silver, smooth disk that reflected the sunlight during the dark nights, bringing a serene and magical shine to the night firmament. Finally, he spread numerous stars around the dark sky, like sparkling diamonds in a black cloak. Each star was unique in its splendor, forming constellations that told ancient stories in the heavens. Heavenly beauty created by God that fourth day was so magnificent that angels stopped to admire such divine grandeur. On the fifth day of creation, God continued his magnificent plan, filling the vast seas with a profusion of life. With a simple command, he ordered the waters to abound living beings and to fly above earth in heaven. And so it happened the oceans became the fish home of all colors and shapes, from the small shoals that shone like jewelry to the majestic whales that crossed the seas with grace and power. Each marine creature was unique in its beauty and complexity, revealing the diversity of careful divine planning. Meanwhile, in the open heavens, a myriad of birds raised flight for the first time. Majestic eagles hovered at the heights, sparrows jumped happily between the branches of the trees, and swallows weaved elegant patterns in the air with their stunts. The world was alive with the sound of the wings hitting and the melodious singing of the birds echoing through the fields and forests. God abundantly blessed these winged creatures, ordering them to be fertilized and populated the heavens and the seas. In contemplating the perfect harmony between the aquatic and winged creatures, God smiled with satisfaction, because he saw that everything was good. This ended the fifth day of the grand work of the creation of the world. On the sixth day of creation, after filling the seas with an impressive diversity of marine life, and the heavens with majestic birds, God turned his attention to the earth. With a divine gesture, He ordered the earth to produce animals of all species and sizes. Thus came majestic lions that roared through the forest, agile deer that jumped through the green fields, and wild horses that galloping through the vast plains. Small creatures, such as rabbits and insects, also came to existence, populating each corner of the earth with its diversity. It was a life-filled world in harmony with the surrounding environment. But then God decided to create something special, man in his image. With extreme care and love, he formed the man from the dust of the earth, shaping him with his own hands. Then he blew in his nostrils the breath of life, making him a living soul. The man was called Adam and was different from all other creatures, endowed with intelligence, communication capacity, and love. However, God saw that it was not good for man being alone. While Adam slept peacefully in the Garden of Eden, God removed one of his ribs and formed the woman Eve. Upon waking and seeing her for the first time, Adam was amazed. She was her perfect companion, her equal in essence. Together, Adam and Eve were placed in the Garden of Eden, a place of pure beauty and perfection, where rivers flowed serenely between fruit trees and colored flowers. There the animals lived in peace with each other, under the careful gaze of the Creator. God granted Adam and Eve the dominion over all creation. They were responsible for taking care of the earth, naming animals and living in harmony with everything that had been created. Finally, God gave them only one commandment: not to eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. This ended the sixth day of the grand work of the creation of the world. In the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve enjoyed the perfect communion with nature around them. Each morning was a symphony of colors and sounds, with birds singing happily and the flowers blooming in an unparalleled beauty show. Adam took care of plants and animals, giving each one a name that reflected their unique essence. Eve, in turn, harvested succulent fruits of the fruit trees of the garden, amazed at the generosity of divine creation. Between laughs and love conversations, the couple enjoyed the peace and harmony that reigned in Eden, not knowing that a trial approached. The divine commandment echoed in his minds as a constant reminder of God's confidence in his ability to choose. Thus, each day in the Garden of Eden was a living testimony of the Creator's care and love to his most beloved creatures. On the seventh day, after completing the creation of the world in 6 days, God contemplated his work with eyes of love and admiration. Every detail, from the separation of light and darkness to the creation of living beings that populated the heavens, seas, and earth, reflected their infinite wisdom and power. In observing the perfect harmony between all creatures and elements of nature, God saw that everything was good, very good. In a gesture of delight and satisfaction, he decided to rest on the seventh day, blessing and sanctifying this special moment. It was a moment of peace and fullness, where the Creator contemplated the beauty of his magnificent work. This ended the cycle of divine creation, leaving a legacy of perfection and balance for all mankind to appreciate and preserve. In observing the nature around us, we are invited to contemplate the grandeur of the Creator. Each ray of sun that illuminates the world, every star that shines in the sky, and every flower that blooms are testimonies of the beauty and perfection of divine work. Creation reflects God's infinite wisdom and love, revealing his presence in every detail. In the midst of the chaos of the world, we find peace in the harmony of nature, reminding us that we are part of something greater. Each creature, each plant, each element of creation has a unique and special purpose. Thus, we are called to take care and preserve this divine gift with gratitude and reverence. On the 10th and last day of the great work of the creation of the world, we are invited to reflect on the active role we play in this continuous cycle of renewal and care. Just as God created the universe with love and perfection, we are called to be co-creators of this world in constant evolution. Each of us has the power to transform realities, either through simple gestures or grandiose actions. How about planting a tree and contributing to the expansion of life on Earth? Or maybe help someone in need, spreading compassion and solidarity around the world. As we contemplate the wonders around us, we are inspired to act for justice, beauty, and love. Let's unite our strength to create a fairer, beautiful, and cozy world for all living beings. Together, we can be an active part of this continuous process of creation and transformation. What are you going to create today to honor the life and world around you? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow more videos like this. I hope They were inspired by the grandeur of creation. Always remember the divine example of care and rest in our lives.